Rudy's experience, and certainly his teaching for us, was rev up the rocket, create enough energy force to create a release and have enough force to pass through gravity, right? Well, the gravity is our own tension, our own contraction. So that was his experience of getting out of, that horizontal plane, or getting out of just our own experience and the density of our own consciousness to blast out of it. That was really fundamentally his teaching, right? And then the last 16, 18 months of Rudy's life, and you remember, that's the period I knew him. That was still going on, but there was the beginning of this much more profound, much more subtle teaching around moving into time and space, what he called the spiritual horizontal. Rudy's language was time and space work, right? Really, it was fundamentally a moving beyond time and space. If we think of Dwadashanta, that's what we're doing. We're moving beyond time and space, right? We're moving into that moment of creation. Rudy's teaching had two fundamental aspects. The conscious intent to reach beyond ourselves, to reach into time and space in order to grab the energy of past lives that's trapped in karmic cycle. The undercurrent of teaching that began to truly surface, and you have to realize this was the last 2 years of his life, and that entire teaching had not matured in him. The reality is he actually never taught that time and space work to the entire community, including to myself, right? I've told you, there was a couple of plans, including once where he came to Indiana, and there's about 300 of us sitting out on this farm. We're all out on this field, we take all these carpets there, and he comes and he sits down and he takes a breath, and he looks around and he says, "Never mind. You're not ready and you'll never get it." So what Rudy discovered in the development of that practice and a very specific exercise was the attempt to move beyond this individual experience of ourselves in order to mine the experiences if you will, the karma, the bound energy of a past life, right? That one must free yourself from identification with this life, this person, this life. Except there was a subtle holding on to that, because I'm going to free myself here, and I'm going to go get all that other energy, and I'm going to bring it back. So there was a subtle hook. In this life, in this incarnation, I am still bound by past life karma that I haven't freed myself of. My experience of karma is not exactly that. Yes, we have karma. The life that we're living right now, in some degree, is significantly influenced by past karma. Right? My experience is that we don't need to go looking for it. We don't have to go find it. If it exists in this last lifetime and it's affecting this lifetime, it's right here in front of us, right? Right here in front of us. Rudy's time and space exercise was, in fact, reaching into Dwadashanta, extending up, following a thread, and then separating yourself from that thread and extending up, right? And attempting to move into that space we call Dwadashanta. It's very complicated and not really necessary. I'm just going to give you a few of the quotes that Rudy used in his discussion, because I think it helps put it in perspective, or helps us understand. He said, "The vastness of cosmic consciousness demands the simplicity of nothingness." Wow. The vastness of cosmic consciousness demands the simplicity of nothingness. And he said, The fuel for working in time and space is our own nothingness. What's he saying to us? We have to free ourselves from any sense of identity. That nothingness was his term for anakya, that inexplicable state of pure nothingness, pure fullness. So what he began to experience as he practiced this, as he went looking for past lives, he began to truly experience and discuss with us, right, that it wasn't exactly finding our individuality in some past life. It was about transcending, right, all past life, discovering that place of pure consciousness in us, I think it was Ken Wilber's line, see your face before your mother was born, right. A beautiful way of just saying, see who you are before even your mother was born. Your mother should know. Right. So Rudy's initial intent, in the initial sense of I have to, I've burnt myself from both ends of the Shakti candle here. Now I better go into my past lives and do the same thing. And if I'm going to do that, I got to gather all this karma and free that bound energy. And I think as he began to reach for that, to search for that, he found something else. He found that space of pure essence. The way he described it was nothingness, right? And so when he says the fuel for working in time and space is our own nothingness, it's how perfectly stated. Even in our meditations, we move into Dwadashanta. What do you do when you get there? Nothing. Right. You let go, right? And what's revealing itself in that space, if you will, that place, that dimension of consciousness? Consciousness itself, right? Consciousness without form, consciousness without identity, right? So what we really want to do in order, if you will, to free ourselves from past karma is bypass it. Bypass it in the sense that we are reaching into a state of pure consciousness, and we can begin, I love Kurt's word, to habituate our experience there. We can habituate the place where our consciousness rests. And in doing so, right, we, to use my own word, permanentize our consciousness in that place. Right. So what we might suggest is somewhere between in the ascent and somewhere through penetrating, through lifting that cosmic veil, finding that place of pure consciousness, we may bump into some past boyfriends and girlfriends, past bosses, etc. Right. And so what do we do when we recognize that? In that moment, to really free ourselves from karma, we have just made contact with a place of non-identity in ourselves. We recognize separated identity is what caused that karma, right? And that it's not the totality of us. We just pull back. We just get still, right? And so two things have happened in the process. We have now consumed the energy of that karma because we haven't interacted with it, right? Rudy's second famous line was, karma is like a shit sandwich. You don't have to take a bite. So we see this karma, it's there. Yeah. All right? We see it. By not engaging it, we begin to consume it because we're not giving it the energy to sustain itself. This is how we really free ourselves from karma, is not engaging it. It's some deeper awareness in us that recognizes that. That's enough. That's all we have to do, right? It's just recognize it and pull back and say, okay, that place of pure consciousness in me is the place that recognizes that. And it doesn't need to do anything, so why do I? Part of what I was suggesting when I say don't engage it is recognizing that yes, that interaction happened from some limited place of will within myself, right? Right. Some limited action, right? So then I just pull back and don't function from there. What are we doing? We're purifying our own level of awareness, and it's just another way that pure consciousness of will, knowledge, and action begins to show itself to us. It's that place of consciousness, right, that witnesses and sees it, right? And we don't allow ourselves to get pulled back into that same limited consciousness. When we truly can habituate our consciousness in that space of Dwadashanta, right, what's happened? We are not coming from anywhere. From that place where we have really freed ourselves enough from identity that we really do live from that space of Dwadashanta, then there's so little of us left, right, that even with our eyes open, engaging the world, engaging the dynamics of our life, there's just no pull in it. There's nothing to work out. We see, the whole domino thing, it's, somebody spent 6 years of setting up all the dominoes, and, we don't need to do anything with it. We don't need to fix it, we don't need to touch it, we don't need to do anything. The thing of not engaging it has to be on this level, in this world. We see it, it shows up. There's the experience where we just don't do anything because there's nothing to me to be done. There's the experience of just becoming a rhinoceros, dug in our head, blah, 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 mowing everything down. And there's somewhere in between, which is, I see this, I need to engage this. But we're not pushing anymore, we're just engaging it. There will be, if you're lucky, some profoundly karmic relationship that you see just your energy is bound in it and you need to engage it. We can engage it without engaging. The art of fighting without fighting, we can engage it. You can engage in the relationship, right, from a completely different place. And if you are engaging in any relationship, in fact, we should engage in every relationship to free ourselves, to grow, to free ourselves of identity. And my suggestion is this: don't worry about your past karma. Stop creating karma in this life.